Hello everyone and welcome. We are here, we are live, and I hope everyone is ready. We're going to do some stuff, but first before we get started, I am here with MapSat-1. This is the first mapping satellite that I put into orbit. It is in low orbit about Kerbin. It has already actually completed its SCANsat contract to map 75% of Kerbin's surface. Here's the map right here, and you can see that although the contract is done, there's still some rather unsatisfactory gaps in here. And I've been playing a little bit, last live stream when we were putting one of these about the moon, I played a little bit with these hash marks that are down here, and somebody left a very useful comment that I think might help with this one on how to get this set up so that it won't keep mapping over the same things that have been mapped before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust this orbit a little bit. Remember that the ideal altitude for this scanner is 70 kilometers above the surface, and we're in fact very close to our apoapsis. We're only about a minute and a half away from our apoapsis. So I think what would be best served if I'm going to adjust this orbit is to get myself to my periapsis. So we're going to do a little bit of time warping and start bringing this apoapsis down. And I'm welcoming everybody in the chat, just reminding people that there is about a 20-second delay in the chat. So when you say something, recognize that it might be a little bit before I see that you have said something. Okay, so unfortunately we're in the dark here a little bit. We're just before my apoapsis, or my periapsis, I'm very sorry. Make sure this engine thrust limiter is very low. And I'm just going to start burning in a retrograde direction, start bringing this down. And I'm going to watch these little marks here, and I'm going to see if we can get these set up a little bit better than what they're set up now. I think I'm finally starting to clue in, but we'll see. We'll see. I'll get this, see if I can get this set up. And if I do, hopefully I can talk about it. So you see how they're changing. They're spreading out a little bit. You want these all to kind of spread out and be equally spread out. Oh, they're coming. I think that looks pretty good right there. I think I'm going to stop. You want them to sort of be... Actually, I think you need them to be alternating, if I'm not mistaken. Get them to spread out again a little bit. Because my orbit is a little bit eccentric, I don't know if there's a way to get these perfect. I'm calling it right about there. You can't get it perfect because the orbit is eccentric, so the satellite is actually speeding up and slowing down. But I think this is the closest that I can get to it without spending a ton of time doing it. But what you want is these blue lines and orange lines, which, by the way, represent where the orbit is going to be crossing the equator. The blue one is, I can see it here, it's while it's on its way up. Actually, maybe it's when it's on its way down. One of the two. And then the orange ones is when it's crossing the equator the other way. And you want these to alternate. You want them to be spread out and to alternate blue, orange, blue, orange, blue, orange, blue, orange, blue, orange. However, if your orbit's not very close to being circular, you'll never get these to spread out perfectly. So I'm thinking this is better. I don't think it's by any stretch of the imagination perfect. Sorry, I still had this locked on the prograde vector. It's really starting to make me think that there must be a math way. There's got to be some math that I can do where I can work out, knowing the rotation speed of the body below me and the ideal orbit, to try and find an orbit with a period that is close to getting these all to spread out, and also knowing the here, we'll take a look. If I put on... Oh, I don't know if I can see it, actually. No, I can't. Usually could see some sort of a cone. I'm not quite sure. Might be something I'm missing here. Is there a way to show a cone that's coming off of that? No. But knowing the angle at which that thing is scanning at, there's got to be a mathy thing I can do. By the way, you might have noticed when I right-clicked on this, it says start the scanner. The scanner is actually off. Kerbalism turned it off because our hard drive was getting full. It will turn it back on again when the hard drive starts to empty. That's just a limitation of how much data that this thing generates. Okay, what I want to do is do the same thing with MapSat2. Let's see if we can fix that one up. MapSat2 is right here. It is also around Kerbin. Moho is a tough one, Chase. I just see there's a comment in the chat there. So I want to change this to biomes. There's a comment in the chat going about being frustrated with getting to Moho. Moho is tough. There's just no way around the fact that I think Moho is the toughest body to work out. To work to, it takes a lot of delta V to get there. The delta V map actually can be wrong depending upon your situation, which doesn't help. Whoa, I just hit thrust by mistake. Let's see though, while we're at this, if I can fix this one up. Actually, this one maybe doesn't look quite as bad as the other one. Where are we at? We're very close to periapsis, so let's see. We'll put this on retrograde again. We'll see if we can. Again, we're watching these hash marks. Bring that apoapsis there. I'm calling this. Again, because we are not quite a circle, but we're not going to get it perfect. But I think right in this zone here is what you're seeing. That's right. Blue, orange, blue, orange, blue, orange, blue, orange, blue, orange. Anyway, we'll leave this to its devices. Eventually, it'll get the map we want. But I think time probably would be better served. Let me just get this sort of looking okay. How is this one's hard drive? This one's hard drive is full too. So the scanner's turned off. It'll turn itself back on when it needs to. Okay, let's get ourselves to the Space Center and talk about what we're going to be doing in this episode. I know Moho is deceptive because people think because it's close to the sun that makes it. It's not. It makes it hard. I think getting out to Joule and Elu, especially Joule, but even Elu, I think is easier than Moho is. Moho is tough. Okay, I want to get into mission control, and I want to talk about what contracts I have active so far. So these are scanning contracts of a scanner that's around the moon. That went up there with my last stream, and that's still being fulfilled. This is to collect some science about the moon. I plan on dealing with that today. This is to position a satellite in a specific orbit about the moon. This is one that I have botched because it has some fine print in here to make sure there's a mystery goo, and I forgot to put that on. I plan on rectifying that as well today. Oh, this was picking up some data from the surface of the moon. Not going to do that today. This is the one I am going to do today. Get some data from space around the moon. But there is another contract that I'm thinking about. Actually, two other contracts that I think should be fun. Number one is under satellites here. I have to reposition Munar 1 in an adjusted orbit about Kerbin. I went and took a look at Munar 1. I took a look at what they wanted me to do. I wanted to make sure that Munar 1 did have the necessary delta V to do this, and it does. But there's something about it that I think even makes this even more interesting. So I'm going to grab that contract. We're going to do some mucking about with this satellite. And the second one is underneath Career Evolution. And underneath, let me get this right, Crewed Milestones, is reach the upper atmosphere with a crewed vessel. I am playing with the probes before crew mod, so I don't have a lot of cabin space for my crew. I have the Mark 1 cockpit, and that is it. But I think it might be fun to build a little kind of a rocket plane that can fire up, get above the necessary 18 kilometers, and then glide back down to the surface. I think Jeb and Val are all over that idea, so I'm going to grab that too. And that's what we're going to do in the second half of this stream. So those are my two plans, to deal with a contract, that satellite insertion contract around the moon, to make a little bit of a rocket plane, and to take a look at Munar 1. I'm going to take a look at Munar 1 right now. So Munar 1 is this guy right here. Let's take a look at him. All right, so this is Munar 1. If you've forgotten about Munar 1, I can't necessarily blame you. I'm just noticing right now that the solar panels are very poorly placed, so I just want to... this was a little satellite that I had a contract to do a flyby of the moon, and I did a flyby of the moon, and then it flew by the moon and got kicked into this big orbit that we see here. And this blue orbit's the orbit that it's in right now. And this orange orbit is the orbit that it wants us to put it in for this contract. Let me pull up the contract so you can take a look at it. Boop. It is... reposition this one. Let's make a contract for this. Create a contract. This is for Munar 1. I love this Contracts Plus window. Now I can select that contract and it's all by itself. Okay. And the designated orbit is to have this apoapsis and this periapsis, which are the same as its current apoapsis and periapsis, but to change its inclination to 10.5 degrees. And that's this orange orbit that we see here. What I think, let me turn everything off so that you can really see, hopefully see what I'm looking at. What I think makes this fun is we are, in this blue orbit, we're going to come around Kerbin, and when we come around Kerbin, we're going to re-encounter the moon again. So what I think might be fun with this one is to not to do this. I mean, it's easy enough just to get, actually pretty close to right now, to do a burn right about here. I mean, we could do this. Actually, I'm not sure I have the delta V. Let's see if I got, I think I do actually, but let me activate this engine. We have 340 meters per second of delta V. This would be the easy way to do it. And to do, whoops, if I burn the right direction. To just do that. Boom, that's it. It's like 60 meters per second of delta V. And get this inclination and be done. But what I think would be more fun than to do that would be to see if we can use the moon to kick us into this orbit. That if we can come around and have the moon kind of give us a little bit of a nudge in the right direction. So what I'm going to do is, I think the best place for us to affect our encounter with the moon is either a quarter of an orbit ahead of the moon or a quarter of an orbit after out here. And since we're coming here first, I'm going to do this here. I'm going to make this maneuver, and then we're going to focus our view on the moon. And what I want to do is to have the moon kick us towards the south. That's our target. So what I need to do is to grab that maneuver. And we need to, I am honestly not 100% sure what we need to do. So let's see what happens if I give this a little bit of radialness. That's what I'm talking about. A little bit of radial. Now we can play with the timing and see if there's a more efficient time to do this. That brings us closer. Oh, this is better. The further I go this way, the better. That's about it. Okay. I want to get a good spot to affect our trajectory. So now I've given too much of that radial. So we're going to bring this out again. So this is a very tiny little burn. And what we would like to do... Actually, we want to come over the top of the moon. So actually, I think I had the right idea in the first place. To come in and let's kerschmack the moon. And then we're going to come radially, or normally this way. Yep, looks like that's doing it. So now we're coming over the top of the moon and we're being kicked downwards, as you can very plainly see. And you can see we are affecting our inclination by a lot doing that. So what I'm going to do is keep going this way. So we're not affecting our inclination so much. We're going to use the moon to kind of help us out a bit. I'm not 100% sure I'm still doing this in the most efficient place that I could be. Let's play a little bit more. That brings us closer. This brings... Oh, no, yeah, this is about the right place to do it. Let's, again, keep playing with the normal component. Oops, that's way too little. There we go. So you can see it doesn't take much to There we go. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I want to come back out to our thing so I can see our target orbit. You can't see this orbit unless you're in the sphere of influence of Kerbin with your camera. And now I'm going to keep playing with this. Let's see, radial. I'm not going to get this perfect by any stretch. I just find this, for me, is just more fun than just simply, but I'm thinking this might be as good. We'll have to do probably some tweaks when this is done. So, we got this burn. I didn't save myself too much in the way of Delta V, especially with the fact that I'll have to correct it again in a little bit. But I thought it would be just fun to show the moon. Show how the moon is going to... We focus on the moon here. We're coming above the moon like this. It's going to bend us towards the south. Bend our trajectory towards the south. Maybe if I got a little bit more directly above it, that might not be a bad plan. That's with the radial part. Like that. Come back out here. And that's going to put us into a little bit of inclined. That's close enough. I'm going to play with it. There we go. A little bit of an inclined orbit. It's affecting our inclination. We're not quite matching our orange orbit that we're supposed to match, but a tiny little bit of a tweak will fix that all up. I just think that's a more fun way to do it than to do it the sort of straight up way. Take advantage of that moon encounter. Now, this burn isn't coming up for another 3 days and 1 hour. I want to get some other stuff done in the meantime, but I don't want to forget about that. So I'm going to pull up a mod, and this to me is a staple mod I love to install all the time. I've just yet to install, I've yet to find a reason to use it. Now I got a reason to use it. Maybe that's half the reason why I'm actually doing it this way too. Is Kerbal Alarm Clock. And what you can do is you can set yourself up reminders of events that are coming up. You can put in manual alarms, but there is a sort of a lot of automated features, a lot of automatic features in here. So it's seeing that there's an encounter coming up. It's giving me a 1 minute warning before that maneuver comes up. I said encounter, but I meant maneuver. Let's change that to like a 10-minute warning so that if it comes up, I'm doing something else, I can maybe hopefully finish off what I'm doing before this comes up. And then I can add this alarm. And so this alarm will come up in 3 days, 1 hour, and 7 minutes. If I'm time warping at the time, it will stop my time warping and let me know that this is coming up. And so this will act as a little bit of a reminder that that's coming up. And this might come up this episode. This might not come up this episode. I don't know, but I thought it was a fun thing to do kind of in the meantime. But yeah, you gotta love Kerbal Alarm Clock. It is a good one. All right. Why don't we get ourselves into the VAB and we're going to build something. Actually, before I do that, I just noticed it was dark out. It was dark at the KSC. Let's pop back. Ooh, there's another mod here, but I just want to get it to sunrise so that when we go to do, if we have to do any testing or anything, we're not doing it in the dark. I do try to minimize. Oh, SCANsat sensor has resumed operations. That's good. Okay, let's get into the VAB. All right, and over here on the left is a mod that I installed upon advice that came into the Discord. Somebody was thinking about me. This is called Wernher's Checklist Continued, or Wernher's Checker Continued, or something to that effect. And it allows you to create checklists so that you cannot forget about things as you're doing builds. And right at the very top of my checklist, it says fine print. So that'll say, oh, Aben, have you read the fine print? And then I can look at the fine print and go, yes, I have. Fine print is checked off. And I'm hoping, excuse me, I'm hoping this will stop me from overlooking stupid things. So this is my checklist for probes. I made one for crewed crafts as well. I made one as well for airplanes. These other ones are ones that come with the mod, and it kind of shows the way the mod works by default, which honestly I don't really like. You can't turn these on and off. What instead happens is if you put out a control body, see, they go green themselves. So it's checking your parts, which is kind of neat, but also I find ripe for failures. If you have mods and things installed, it just feels like something that's just going to go wrong. It also has this, I find annoying, I think they found it cute, more boosters thing on the bottom, which I couldn't figure out how to take away. But for my checklists, I just made them all manual, so I can just go in here and manually either click them on or click them off. I'm the one in control of whether those are green or not some mod that's deciding whether I have what I need or not have what I need. And in order to make your own checklist, this is one thing I wish there was a feature in here that wasn't there, but you have to get into the config file for the mod and manually put all these items in. It's not that hard to do, but it certainly would be neat if it was like built into the mod for you to create your own checklists. But anyway, there's that. Let's get into contracts. The contracts I am looking at, again, let's get into the missions. I have, nope, that's all right. Yep, the contracts I'm looking at is, R is, not that one. Position a satellite in a specific orbit. We're going to create a new contract, and this is going to be for Munar. Ooh, this is a very good question. Which Munar are we up to? I'm going to guess Munar 3. I could easily be wrong. We can edit it later. And we also have a contract to get some science from space around the moon. I'm going to add that to this contract as well. And now if I select the contracts, that's the only two I see. So that is just perfect. Okay, so here's my plan on what I want to do. So I have this very specific orbit that I have to reach around the moon. I also need to have a mystery goo with me. So I thought, well, if I'm going to have a mystery goo with me, well, I'm going to use that mystery goo. And if I'm going to use the mystery goo, I'm going to use the materials bay. And just to remind people with Kerbalism, the science that you collect with the mystery goo and the materials bay are samples that need to be returned to the KSC in order for you to get the science from them. You cannot transmit them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send a materials bay and a goo out, put it in this orbit, collect the junk I want to collect, send it back to Kerbin and recover it. I'm going to do one better than that as well. While I'm collecting, this is in high space about the moon, why not adjust the orbit to go to low space around the moon and collect materials bay and goo around that? That's going to require a second materials bay and a second goo, so this thing is getting pretty involved, but that's going to be the whole plan. Have a probe, 2 materials bays, 2 goos, get it into this specific orbit, get it into low space around Kerbin, collect all the materials bay, all the goo that I can, well, that should be all of it, and then return back to Kerbin and recover it. That's the plan. I hope I'm not too ambitious, but I suppose there really is only one way to find out. So let's start building here. So this is starting off with the hex probe. The standard, this is my best probe to date. And I need to put on a goo and a materials bay. And I'm just looking as well. I also, oh shoot, science, for goodness sakes. Yeah, this is why I made myself another checklist. I'll get back to this in a little second. I made myself a list. Don't forget, I have now almost 100 science. I can collect some more science, and that's going to help me. So I should really think about science. I've already looked ahead, and the science I'm thinking about, this makes my life easier, is electrics. I definitely want to grab this one. This gives me deployable solar panels, bigger batteries, more lights, and upgrades to the hard drive capacity of the experimental storage unit, which is great. Some deployable stuff as well. Better antennas. Okay, good. All good stuff. So we're going to just grab that one right away. And this was a little bit of a hard choice. I'll let people know what else. I was also looking at, because I'm within shot now of command modules and putting Kerbals actually into space. Was tough not to think about that one, but let's reach the upper atmosphere first. And the other one I'm thinking about, and these are all ones I'll probably unlock very soon, is this one for the double C seismic accelerometer. I do have a mission to land 3 probes on the surface of the moon. I want to have this unlocked before I get to that. So anyway, now let's get back to our build. Oh my goodness. All right, back to the build we go. So, let's think about solar. Doesn't really need a lot of electricity. We're going to power this thing using the fuel cell once again. So I'm going to use, it does need a lot of electricity for that, but despite the fact that I just unlocked what I just unlocked, I'm actually going to use just 4 of these, just like that. Electrical storage, I don't need a lot of electrical storage. Let's start sticking stuff on here. So, I need, let's put this in a fairing. And then stick some science stuff under it. Bum, bum, bum. There we go. Materials bay science. There. I also have some mystery goo stuff. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a little bit of a, make that the root part. I'm going to turn on the interstage nodes. Bum, bum, bum. Actually, no, I don't think I will turn on the interstage nodes. I think what I'll do instead is put in a structural part. I have this truss structure. This can now go back on top. And then attached to this, I'm going to put my 2 mystery goos. Just 2 of them. And we're also going to put on, for electrical consumption, a good old fuel cell. And the fuel cell will power the electricity that's required, because these things, especially if I turn it on, we're over 2 units of electric charge that they consume. So this thing can cover that. Now, this fuel cell runs on hydrogen and oxygen. And where do I find that? Right here. This is going to be in these small pressurized tanks. Let's put one here. This has 1,700 units of oxygen on it, and I need only about 1,300 units. So we can actually just, oh no, times 2. Sorry, I wrote times 2. I need 2,600 units. So if I put this around 1,360, grab that, double it up. Actually, let's put them over here. So maybe what I'll do, just do it this way. Boom. And boom. So that should take care of oxygen. And then if I grab it again, I also need hydrogen. Again, this is all to power the fuel cell. There it is. Configure pressurized tank. Change it to hydrogen. And I need 2,500 units of hydrogen times 2. Right now it has, oh, that's already enough. I need 5,000. There we go. There's all the hydrogen I need. And I'm going to put you, let's line these up here. You know what? I keep hitting the Alt key. Stop hitting the Alt key. There we go. So these 2 should have oxygen. Yep. And this one should be hydrogen. Let's change their colors up so we can tell the difference. That's the hydrogen one. So I want to tell the difference between the goo. There's the oxygen ones. All right, so that should be good for doing the fuel cell. Let's actually move the fuel cell up here. And then what I think I shall do is simply grab this and slide it down like that. There. That should be good. Now, lights. Let's get into lights. I have more new lights. And the ones I like here, I like these Spotlight Mark 1s. I'm going to sneak them. I'm hoping I can get these under the fairings. So I want to try and light these up a little bit better. Just turn the lights on. That's the blink. I don't want them to blink. I just want them to light up. And what I like about these little spotlights is we can, oh, it won't let me zoom in any further, but you can adjust, see how you can adjust their little pitch a little bit? That's kind of neat. You can roll, oh, that's the blink period. I don't want to do that. You can also roll them. I think that's a pretty neat, I like these little spotlights. That should help, I think, for lighting this up. And then I think what I'll do, I think that should be good. So let's go through my checklist. Fine print for my contracts. Going to Munar 3. Fine print is right here, mystery goo. I have the mystery goo. This says it must have solar panels. It does. It must have an antenna. It does. I'm going to be careful now. That, and then reach the designated orbit. So fine print, checked off. I have control. Yes, I do. Configure the probe. Yes, let's configure this probe. This probe, I do not want any other science on this probe because all it's going to do is what the materials bay in the goo. So probe is configured. Science, I got the science I want. I got power generation taken care of. Electrical storage, I figure I only need about 30 units of electric charge to store. I got 100, so that's going to be good. Antennas, antenna strength. All I need is antennas for communication, so that can be taken care of with a single communitron. That will take care of the antenna. Check that one off. Speed is fine because I won't be doing any transmitting. That's fine. Data storage is fine because we don't need any data storage. Okay, I'm down to propulsion. Let's put some tanks on this. So this makes me feeling a lot more confident that I haven't messed this up. So put on that tank. We'll put on a Pug engine and we'll see how much delta V I got. 15, 16, and I figure my budget in around 1,410 meters per second. So honestly, I'm liking this already. I want to go dark. I might want to go dark. Go to the dark side. Let's go with that. Okay. Thrust to weight is good. Delta V is good. So that's taking care of propulsion. RCS and propellant I don't need. Parachutes. Oh my goodness. Yes, I definitely want parachutes. This needs a complete change now. Yep. Thank you. Because this has got to return and come down. So what I'm going to put on this thing is a decoupler. And a TD, the little decoupler. We're going to put on a small heat shield. Where's my heat shield? There it is. Actually, the 1.25 meter heat shield. And then I'm going to use this part right here. The experiment storage unit. Right there, like that. And this thing requires, let me get this right. This generates 4 slots of data or samples. This generates 4 slots of data. That's 8. Each goo is 1 more slot, so I need 10 slots of storage capacity. So I'm going to put this up to 12. Data capacity doesn't matter. So this is what's going to be returning to the surface. I'm going to put another hex on the top of this just for control, and then on top of that we're going to put a parachute. All right, and I think I'm going to stick this antenna, where am I going to put you? Stick you right about here. Need one of these, one-way symmetry. Extend that antenna. That's it. There we go. Nicey nice. Okay, so that's parachutes taken care of. Thermal protection is taken care of. Lights is taken care of. Actually, what I want to do, while I'm thinking about lights, I love my checklist, is I'm going to put on 4 of these lights just for blinkiness. That's all I care about. We're going to make them amber lights. That. Put the blink on. Blink every half a second. And that looks great. Just for more lights, I don't think you can really have enough lights. Lights are taken care of. Upgrades. Do I want to upgrade anything? Like, for instance, I could upgrade this engine. Right now, this engine has 20 ignitions. If I upgrade it, it has 36 ignitions. But to be quite frank, I think the cheaper engine's going to be fine. But at least I've considered that. Thrust to weight ratio is fine. Fairing deploy. Let's test that out. So we're going to build this fairing. And let's turn this to clamshell deploy. Put it up to 4 sides. Put up the force a little bit. I'm going to leave this unchecked because I definitely want to test the fairing deploy, but I won't do so right yet. And then finally, I got to put a booster on it and check the staging. How are we doing? How's this checklist working out? I'm kind of rather excited for my checklist. I think this is making this whole process a lot more, a lot less sketchy. Okay, booster. What is my total mass at? 2.77 tons. So if I go to my sub-assemblies, where I do have some saved boosters, I do have the Swivel-RT2 booster. It's the same booster I've been using actually a little bit already. Don't need this fairing on here. Okay. This booster we used last episode. That gives me 3,679 meters per second just in this bit right here. I think that should be fine. Let's check thrust to weights. I need a little bit more thrust here. Atmo. Maybe do I have... Oh, I don't have more thrust there, so that's as much thrust as that's going to give me. So I'm thinking that might be about it. So, staging, that's making sense, that's making sense. This is absolutely 100% not making sense. That's got to go. Then that engine. That's for, yep, when we're coming back. And the fairing will get deployed after these boosters get off. There we go. So that's been good. Let's save this. I was guessing this is going to be, oh, I saved it as untitled. I was guessing Munar 3. Yeah, my last one was Munar 2, so this is a Munar 3. Let's save it. Staging. Okay, I've checked off everything. We can get rid of our checklist. Yep. Yep. I think we're good. So what I'm going to do is just do a simulation really quick. We're not going to fly this right to orbit because I have a lot of faith. We've flown this booster now a couple of times and it's done us proud. So I'm going to do a simulation, and actually the only thing I'm really looking at is the fairing. And Mini Black Gaming, you're very welcome. Mini Black Gaming says I've been a huge help, helping him getting back in the game. I'm very glad to hear that. Okay, Munar 3. Okay, what I want to do is just check, does this fairing stage the way I want? That's all I care about. That looks good. I am happy with that. Okay, I'm going to end the simulation. That's the end of my simulation. That was it. I trust its flight. It's the fairing I'm the most sketchy on. Okay. You know what I should add? I should add action groups to my checklist. Action groups. So, on action group number 1, we're going to put on this antenna. On action group number 2, we're going to put on this materials bay and this goo. And at the same time, we're going to start our fuel cell. And then on action group number 3, I'm going to put this one. I'm hoping I'm picking different ones. This one. And again, by then I will have stopped the fuel cell, so I got to turn the fuel cell back on. So hopefully, I think I got this working right. So action group number 2, fuel cell, mystery goos. Oh, the mystery goos are on. Okay, I see a problem. Back to here. I need to remove the symmetry. When I selected the mystery goo, I had them both selected. So let's just action group 2. I don't want both mystery goos going, just this one. And on action group 3, just that one. Well, again, they're both on that one. There we go. You need to remove the goo from the group of 2. Yes, thank you, James. I just figured that out. Again, lovely 20-second delay. I think we're good. I think we're ready to fly. Let's do it. Let's launch. Let's go. We're on our way to the moon. And then we're going to come back. This is actually the first thing that's designed to go to the moon. Not land on it, but go to the moon, go into orbit, and then return. We'll see. Okay, so throttle up, SAS on, put this on this. Let's select our contract, which is the Munar 3 contract. There we go. Put this so we can keep an eye on our stuff. Okay, I think we're ready. Let's punch this and hopefully everything will go good. There we are. We are off. And pitching over. There is a lot of torque in this when I pitch over. And because I want this to be equatorial, I'm looking at that heading to be 90 degrees. Are you going to settle on 90? Nope, you're a little bit too much to the north. Rate at which it's pitching over, I think, is good. Okay, we're going to get ready to lose our radial boosters here. There we go. Oh, it'll be nice to get separatrons to get those separate more cleanly. Click that orange max DV, this guy right here. Yeah, but that just opens all that stuff. I like them. You don't need to see all that, if that's what you were referring to there, James. All right. Looking okay. Looking okay. And let's see. Our time is getting over 50 seconds to our apoapsis. So I'm just going to start to throttle down just a little bit. Always during these ascents is actually a good time for me to read the chat, because once you get past the sort of launch and getting it pitched over right and heading on the right heading, usually after that everything just kind of goes fairly easily. Okay. Alright, we're just going to I'm going to reduce throttle just a little bit more, and that's it. No more reducing the throttle. We're just going to watch this. And I was getting people asking on the last stream about reducing the throttle and why you pick a minute. And the minute, keeping it less than a minute, that's just me. But the main reason why reducing the throttle improves the efficiency of the ascent is because right now I'm not putting all my energy into raising my apoapsis. I'm also putting energy into raising my periapsis. And by the time I shut this engine down, because my apoapsis gets up to its target height, the periapsis will be significantly high. And then that means the final circularization is minuscule. This turns out to be just a more efficient way to go. And if I wanted to, I could keep reducing the throttle, keep that apoapsis less than a minute ahead, but I just couldn't be bothered. It makes the whole process take too long. All right, we just cracked 50 kilometers, so I'm just going to lose the fairing here. There we go. My lights on? Oh, I think... Were my lights? I think the lights are on now. So hard to tell. I think they're actually... There. Those lights are now on. They weren't on. Okay, whatever. Oh, shoot! I just blew by my 80 kilometers fiddling with lights. Okay, that's okay. That's fine. Just over 85 kilometers on my apoapsis. That's okay. No biggie there. Let's get ourselves out of the atmosphere. I'm hoping these little spotlights will help to light up this whole top section a little bit more interestingly. Once we're on night sides of things. I like that checklist. Well, then again, this mission's hardly... I shouldn't get too far ahead of myself. But notice now how my periapsis is at minus 100 kilometers. It's most of the way to where it needs to be. Remember, it just needs to get up to 80. Or I guess I'll go to 85 to sort of circularize this a bit. Okay, a little bit of thrust. Not a lot. We're just pushing up that periapsis. Even reduce throttle a little bit. Again, I don't want this engine to go off because I do have limited ignitions on that engine. Okay. Oh no, we're very close. 80, good enough. There we go. 87 by 85. Okay, we're going to position this just again for solar panels so I don't have to worry about this thing running out of electricity, though to be quite frank. It should be good. And let's clear away all the clutter. There we go. Select the moon as a target. Boy, with all of our going to the moon things in this series with these live streams, you certainly have had no shortage. I should just type in like 856. I know what it takes to get to the moon. Focus my view here. Doesn't. Oh, there it is. Came up in a funny spot. Okay, and we'll start playing around with the timing. Realize I can take off a fair amount. And again, this is my target orbit here. So right now, all I'm doing... Whoops, come back. All I want is to get that periapsis so it's just above my target, so that we'll do a correction burn and bring this periapsis so it's just touching this target orbit. But that'll be good right now. Change my view and warp. Extend the antenna. Ryan says extend the antenna in all uppercase letters, and yes, that would be really bad. I will do that as soon as this time warping is done. Lock that onto the prograde vector, press 1 to extend the antenna, and there it is. There's my extended antenna. Thank you very much. It's okay for now, but of course the antenna that's built into the probe bodies only lasts so long, and then it would be bad, you know, all of a sudden when you lose out, it's too late to extend it. Okay, there we go. 30 seconds to the burn. This burn is 1 minute and 19 seconds long. And the first tiny bit of it is going to be done on this booster, but then we'll have to stage very quickly. You know, I should get in the habit of doing it. I was just thinking, this is going to burn really hard and really quickly. I should get in the habit of reducing the throttle limiter on this so that this burn isn't so extreme. Like, there it's like crazy thrust, and then I gotta go like that to low thrust. Would be a better idea to reduce the throttle limiter on that, but next time maybe, if I remember. Okay, we're off to the moon. Going to the moon. You know what I never did do is I never tested this gizmo on descent. I'm hoping that part of it's all okay. It'd be a pain to go through this whole thing and then find that it blows up while it's coming back in Kerbin's atmosphere. Can I bring the checklist out here? I'm not sure. I've just started playing with that mod. You're right. You can make a checklist for the mission, a mission checklist too. Right now I'm in the middle of the burn. Let me, I don't see a button for it. Here, I'll talk about it in just a second. Let me finish off this burn. Okay. And start reducing the throttle. That's good enough. Okay, we'll make a correction. I don't see a button for it, but I noticed while I was fiddling with config files for that checklist mod that there is a visibility toggle that is set to the editor. That's what it says. Maybe there's a way to get it to show up in this view. That'd be kind of neat. And then again, maybe not. I don't know. Not played with the mod too much. Okay, we need a correction burn. Back here. Going to be coming towards the south here a bit. Play a little bit with the... Oh my. I can tell that the timing of this is not important at all. And want this periapsis to just come in contact with this orbit. Come radially this way. Nope, other way. And last time this worked, I did this. Last time I inserted myself into this orbit, it actually was a little bit of a nicer situation. The moon was in a bit of a different position, so that when I did the plane change out here, it actually turned out not to be much of an inclination difference between my trajectory coming in and this trajectory. Now it's a little bit more, so it should still have more than enough fuel. Shouldn't be a problem. We'll find out, I suppose. Okay, so that's all set up. Yeah, let's time warp. Do this burn. I want to reduce this throttle because this is a very tiny burn. Okay, let's get that onto the maneuver node. Okay, and there's no reason to wait for this counter to get down to 0 because this is not a very time-sensitive burn, so we're just going to do this right now. That's good enough. Good enough for now, I think. I think so. Okay, let's put the throttle limiter back up again. Make sure we do have some exposure on those solar panels. I think it's good enough. Okay, let's get ourselves into the moon's SOI and we can start doing ourselves some science. So, warp to here. Where's the moon? It's Kerbin. I think there's the moon. Alright. I keep seeing those notifications for that site experiments, which has been up there for a while, collecting science around Kerbin. That is just great. Okay. I'm going to put the view back on orbital here. Whoa, oh, we're kind of upside down here. Okay. Let's do some science now. So if I press 1, I'm checking, I want to make sure this fuel cell does come on. If I press 1, I should get some stuff happening. So 1. Oh no, 1 was the antenna. Oh no, that I still have a signal. Oh my gosh. I turned the antenna. I should make 1 extend the antenna, not extend it down. That could have gone badly. Thankfully, I still had a signal. I think probably because I got relays out here. I think the relays saved me, but... Okay, 2 should have stuff happening. There we go. So there goes a materials bay. There goes a goo. And the fuel cell is running. And my electric charge says perpetual here. So that's a good sign. It's going to take this about 20.5 minutes to run. And we'll do some time warping, obviously. But why don't I, while that's all happening, get this set up? So we're going to do a burn right around here. Take a look at our orbital parameters. There is a argument of periapsis, which means you do have to match where the periapsis and apoapsis are here. So I actually do have to match this blue orbit. So let's get started. So we're going to be doing this, clearly. We also need to bring down that inclination so that it is close. And I'm just doing this sort of just visually. Just trying to match the blue orbit as best I can. Bringing in that apoapsis a bit more. And again, we need to have this apoapsis here, and you do that using radial. So it looks like radial out pushes it that way. Notice how that takes care of my periapsis at the same time. A little bit more retrograde. A little more radially this way. Oh, maybe a little bit less on the normal. That's looking okay. A little bit more tweaking on the radial. I don't think I need to be as close as I'm making this look. It's not all that super critical. But I don't know. I get finicky about this kind of stuff sometimes. If I want to match an orbit, by God, I want to match that orbit. I think that's looking pretty good. So, we got ourselves a... Wait. How on earth did I mess this up? How do I only have this much fuel left? Okay. I think this... I must have saw something wrong in the... I can say this. I must have noticed something... Here, let me delete this because I can't burn it. I obviously screwed up with the fuel. I must have looked at something wrong in the VAB. I don't have nearly enough fuel now that I'm seeing about it. So much for that old checklist idea. So I don't have enough fuel to get this capture. What we can do is do a flyby and see if we can. Okay, we gotta fix this now though. There's a couple of ways to do this. One is I can let myself fly by, and let's see if we can. 2 ways to do this. But one way, time is fleeting. So let's see if we can affect our trajectory. I'm giving up on that orbit down that way. No, I don't have the delta V to come around the moon on the other side. There's not delta V for that. Shoot. So the older way, I was one way to get this periapsis down into Kerbin's atmosphere would have been to come around the other side of the moon, unfortunately, and use the moon as a gravity assist to bring it down. Unfortunately, I don't have the delta V to affect my trajectory that much, but after coming by the moon, I will be in this big old orbit. I might be able to bring my periapsis down from here. Again, if I can just get that into, I think this is going to work. If I can get that into... I'm disappointed. I got to go back. Well, the evidence, I'm sure, has been recorded. Oh, dear. So, anyway. So, what we're going to do, we're going to fly by the moon. It's going to kick us into this orange orbit here. And then I'll have to do a burn at apoapsis out here. And then that will bring my periapsis down into Kerbin's atmosphere. And we can still do the recovery. Hopefully. Oh my gosh. That is... I am so gosh dang angry about that. I gotta go back and look at how that got messed up. Why is the burn time... Oh, probably because it's not in this SOI. Okay. How is my... Unfortunately, we're not going to get into near space of the moon with this. This contract here has been borkified, but we can hopefully still do this one. Okay. How is this thing collecting? It is collecting fine, so... Let's do that. And this is using up the hydrogen and the oxygen, but it should still have more than half of it left by the time this is done because it was meant to run twice. Okay, there we go. That's a pain. Okay, let's press 2 again, and that should turn off. Yes, now the fuel cell is stopped. And then we're going to take this, and we're going to collect all of our... Transfer that data here. So now, all of this stuff should be stowed in this, which is the part that's returning. Okay, let's see. Let's leave the moon's SOI. Yeah, let's do it here. So we're just gonna briefly go by the moon here. Ah, that's a little frustrating. Okay, are we out of the moon? Yes, we're out of the moon's SOI. So now we're coming up this way. But what I should have... Oh, it doesn't have quite the delta V. Shoot! It is so close, but not quite there. Oh no! Oh no! This may be a failure. That's why this burn time is in red. Let's select this. Shoot, this might be a complete and utter failure. Because I only have 139 meters per second left. And that's not enough to get my periapsis down. It's close, but no cigar. Shoot! Does it have RCS to help? No, I did not put RCS on it. Oh, well, I think we're done. This was a fail, so I am so disappointed. Oh, well, you know what? They don't all work, do they? Sometimes you mess up. And this one I think is going to be a mess up. I think this is going to sit out here and taunt us with its failure. I'm going to set an alarm. Let's turn on Kerbal alarm clock. I'm going to add an alarm for 5 minutes ahead of when this burn is going to be. It's going to be 6 days, 1.5 hours from now. I don't think it's going to be good enough. I don't think there's much I can do about it. But what we'll do is we'll go back to the Space Center. I'm going to take a look at it. What time we got? Now, and what I'm going to do is we'll redo this again. I think there was just a failure of math. I think I know what happened. I do think I know what happened. Let's take a look. Again, to remind people of what my budget was. My budget, I suspect it's not my budget that I screwed up. My budget was 1,410 meters per second for that probe. And if I take a look, it only has 683 meters per second. And I think where I messed up is I stuck this fuel can on and it had enough delta V. And then I stuck on all this stuff on the top. I did the recovery portion of it, which of course added mass, which reduced the delta V. So this just needs a bigger fuel can on the bottom. That was just a dumb thing on my part. So what I think I shall do is I kind of want to not do this. I want to do my rocket plane. So I think all I got to do is put on a bigger fuel can, and I think this thing is going to work just fine. But I think I said I was going to do a rocket plane, and I'm now in the mood to do a rocket plane. So we'll get back to this again with the next stream, and we'll get this to work right. But I'm going to go new, and I'm going to build me a rocket plane. So let's put this on to change the checklist to planes. And there might have been somebody in the stream going, you don't have enough delta V. That's entirely possible. But I missed it if anybody was saying that. Okay, this is reach the upper atmosphere. Let's do this. We're going to crack 18 kilometers. So this is going to be, the whole idea is this with an SRB on the bottom, hit 18 kilometers. Now I want to be semi-safe. I honestly really do want to be semi-safe with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on, I would love to glide this. Not onto the, well, mate, no, let's just, well, who knows. Well, I want to glide at least into the water. And now all of a sudden I'm getting ambitious and maybe thinking about putting this into land. But one thing at a time. They don't, EVA pack's not going to help them. Definitely want to have a parachute. We won't do a crew report. No. Well, how long does it take to do a crew report? I think it says, if I look at the science here, oh my gosh, so many windows. Crew report takes 4 minutes. Nah, we're not going to do that. So we'll take this. We're going to configure. Oh, there's no configuring to this pod anyway. Okay, if we can do a crew report, we can do a crew report. Might as well activate that. Monopropellant's not going to help us. If we take a look at our Kerbalism thing, they have enough food to last for 5 days. They certainly don't. Whoever's going to go in this thing, that certainly isn't going to help them out. We'll take out the water and oxygen as well. Let's see. 3 hours of water, 3 hours of oxygen, 3 hours of food. Yeah. If they need more than that, then they're already in trouble. And all I'm thinking about, honestly, I mean, this ain't rocket science. Is this? I'm just thinking this. I want to make it something that can glide, but this thing's gonna go like a bat out of hell. It really is. And then I'm thinking, just on a safety standpoint, if I open up the Mark II parachute, that if I want to glide this whole thing back to the surface, but if I can't, I can hopefully just hit stage and just recover our pilot without, doing them major harm. That's sort of my idea. Okay, so let's take the thrust. No, not the thrust. Let's take the when this thing is coming back, I just turned the gimbal limit down. Take the fuel all out. When this thing is gliding, it's going to be out of fuel. So let's see if we can make this into something that can glide. And again, I'm not going to be sophisticated. Okay, let's put on the mass and the lift. We want the lift a fair bit behind the mass. I think maybe a little bit higher. But not so much like a plane. Like, as long as I can control it, we're going to give it some lateral stability with a very small rudder, like so. You know what? I don't think... Let's switch the editors just really quickly. Oh, that's not the button I wanted. Sorry. There. Okay, now let's look at the lift and that. Ah, there. I don't trust this. This looks funny. It shouldn't be right. Now where's the lift? A vertical surface like that should not be... Just want a single rudder. Ooh, I am... Sure. This one thing should not be bringing the lift back so much. The drag, sure, but not the lift. And I really think because I started this in the other editor, I'm thinking this... You know what? We're going to do this... Let's go back to the other editor. We're going to do this by trial and error more than anything. There it is. There's our rocket plane. So, it does not need a lot of delta V. Sure. And then we're going to bring the thrust way down, because this will be berserk enough as it is. Oh, that's the fuel. Thrust. Tilt it ever so slightly one way. I mean, what could go wrong? What could go wrong? Yeah, I'm going to put this on a separate stage. I'm going to get in the habit of putting that booster on a separate stage like this. Come on, get down there. There we go. Okay, let's go through our checklist. Fine print just to hit 18 kilometers. That's fine. It has control. There's nothing to configure. I dealt with oxygen, water, and food. There's no science. Power generation. I'm not going to worry about power generation, but now I'm thinking I do want some electrical storage because this thing will be working on the reaction wheels. Will be a good part of the control, and that will use up electricity. Put this on two-way symmetry, radial. There, that's what I want. That should be enough. Electrical storage should be fine. Antenna strength, I don't care about. Antennas don't matter. Data storage doesn't matter. Control surfaces. Let's turn down the authority limiter on this. And I'm going to take off yaw, but leave on pitch and roll. Sure, why not? Control surfaces, propulsion is taken care of. Air intakes are irrelevant. Lights. Lights. Doesn't need lights. Upgrades don't matter. Cargo. Let's just quickly look at the cargo. Just a parachute. That should be fine. Staging is fine. Okay. I think. Okay, I'm going to definitely give this a test. We are going to give this a test. Who's already sitting? Probably Jebediah is sitting in there. Yeah. Let's give this a test, Jebediah. So we're going to simulate this on the launch pad. Yeah, it might. James is asking, will the administration building Munar strategy negatively affect the high altitude milestones? Yes, what you do is you get a knock on milestones. That's kind of what happens. I realize now I'm in the dark, but we'll just do a test with this. But I'm just gonna eat it because I just don't want to. I don't want everything to be about the moon. I want to do some other things. So, and I don't know, is there a milestone? Well, let's see. Let's see if this is going to work. So, this is just a test. And lights on for whatever they're worth. And Jeb is on his way up. And of course, all we got to do is crack 18 kilometers. So that's the first thing to check is, will this crack 18 kilometers? The second thing to check is, will I have control of it for gliding purposes? I think it looks good. Okay. You think it's ugly? I don't know if it's ugly. Oh, it's really wanting to. There, I'm pitching downwards. Can't really see it, but I'm really pitching downwards right now. There, that's better. I should watch electricity. No, electricity's fine. We're almost out of solid fuel. What's our apoapsis at? Oh my gosh. We are just barely... I think I need more upitude. We're doing okay. We are 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. There we go. So I'm just going to time warp this. Let's take the SAS off. We'll let this kind of go ballistically. And the other thing I just want to check is... will this glide safely? And obviously I'm going for the water. We're going to try and put her down into the water. But I just want to get down where the air is going to be a little bit... Whoa! Don't do this with... I can tell at least that the center of lift is behind the center of mass just because it followed that prograde vector so well. Let's turn this on. Maybe might be able to see if we can just... If I can level off, then I'm pretty confident that I can do this. As long as I can level out. Oh, there's the KSC over there. Now I'm not 100% sure. This thing does not have a lot of pitch authority. As we're picking up speed, it doesn't help. Oh, yeah, this does not. I think because these wings are up so far forward that there's not a lot of force pushing down. This is not going to go well. Nope, nope, nope. Okay, so this is why we did a simulation. Slight change in mind. Slight change in mind. That was just, he was just going to go crashing down. So, let's take this off. There was too little... Where's the center of mass when the fuel's all gone? There was just too little authority on these guys. What I'm thinking... Radial. Putting them further back to give me more pitch authority. Maybe even sneak them down this way a little bit. I just don't think my center of lift, center of mass indicators were telling me the truth. And then what I'm thinking to help also with stability is, and I don't want these to be control surfaces. I could, it's just starting to get too big, I think, is... No. Try this again. Couple of things at the front, just to give some lift at the front of this thing. You can tell I did not do a lot of thinking before slapping this together. There. Oh, now it's giving sort of a lifty kind of indicator. Okay, this might be a little more. Now this looks like a center lift indicator. I'm going to bring these up a bit. This is out of fuel, right? It actually might be that the lift is too far back. That might actually be the problem. Let's actually, I'm gonna make these bigger at the front. That's what I'm gonna do. Now that I actually have a lift that I believe in, let's put some larger canard type structures. This is to pull the lift forward. So we have more lift towards the front. In a bit. There. Now I can pull this back a bit. So where the control authority is behind the center mass. That should give me more, theoretically. I also think it needed more thrust at the beginning, but one thing at a time. Okay, let's put the fuel back in. Oh, that's not going to be stable on takeoff. I got an idea. I got a better idea. Much better idea. Could put structural fuselage on this. I should have done this. So only this thing is gliding back home. And we'll ditch the engine. I don't know. Doesn't look right, does it? I don't want to make this a whole day of failures. I want this to work. So like this is a glider, and then we'll lose the booster. That's what I'm thinking about. Where's the mass and the lift now? I don't know why this won't work. Okay. And I think I want a bigger booster. Whoops. Engines. Needed a coupler. You see now what I can do. There we go. Three-way symmetry is what I was trying to get here. Now what I can do is put on some tail fins down here. Wow, there's no way that... I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens. That's what this is going to be, a see what happens thing. I'm just not convinced that these are right. Yeah, I think these are a little messed up because I'm using plain parts in the VAB. I don't know. Should probably increase the control authority considering... Oh, the authority was pretty high. Okay. Oh, this is the... what is this going to be? This is the Kerbal X1. That's what this is. Save this. Okay, let's try launching this again. I don't want to parachute down to the surface, Dan. I mean, the parachute's there, but it's like for a backup only. I really want this. I should pitch to, or time warp to sunrise, shouldn't I? Now here's a question. If I take off SAS and just don't... No, see, that did that. Okay, so it wasn't lying as to where the lift was. Okay. Let's... Sorry, wrong. Oh, did I push launch? Oh my god. I'd push launch instead of simulate. Okay, parachute for the win. Oh my golly. Jebediah, we almost killed you. Oh, I hit launch instead of simulate. Oh my goodness. Jebediah can do flips. There he is. Okay. That could have gone really badly. Oh my gosh, we're gonna now I'm determined. Now I really want to make this work, but a couple of things first. First, okay, let's recover this mess. Warp to sunrise. I meant to hit simulate and instead I hit launch. That was pretty dumb. Okay. So clearly, let's see what the lift... Yeah, I need to get that lift way back. What if we put 6 of these back here? 8 of them back here. Just to counter the lift forces at the top. Okay, a little bit more thrust now to deal with all of that weight that we just added on. Okay, save this. Simulate. Don't launch, simulate. That's why we have escape systems, even when you simulate, because you might mistakenly hit the launch button because you're a doofus. Why don't you use RCS? I don't know if I've unlocked any RCS thrusters yet. I don't think I have. I do not think I've unlocked any RCS thrusters. But I'm really... This is personal now. I really want this to work. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Go. Oh, shoot. Okay, so that clearly needs to be cleaned up. Hey, I'm flying this, though. I'm flying this. Okay. I think Jebediah is having fun. No matter what, Jebediah is having fun. So that's all that matters. Okay. No, we're upside down. Oh, we are... I want to go to the... Oh my gosh. Okay, this thing actually... As ridiculous as this is, I'm actually kind of flying. I want to go over the ocean. That's my issue. There, we gotta go this way. So, as ugly as all that is, I'm actually, like, in control. Look at that. So our apoapsis is fine. We can start pitching downwards. Okay. So we've cracked what we needed to crack. But now the question is, I'm going to get up here towards apoapsis. I'm going to lose this thing. And now the whole idea is, will this stupid thing actually be a functional glider? That's what I'm interested in. If it is, oh, okay, that was me. That's on me. Didn't have SAS on. I just want to save electric charge too. Okay, actually, part of the issue is I'm on 4 times speed. Part of the issue is I might be picking up just too much speed here. Okay, we are leveling off, my friends. What do you think? I'm actually here. Let's pick up speed. I think this thing needs a lot of speed to stay in the air. And we are. Somebody seriously wants the craft file for this monstrosity? That I can't imagine. See, I'm pulling up, man. I'm gliding. This is working. So this is it. This is gonna be for real now. I just want, turn that off. Turn that off. What I think I also shall do, take away that checklist. And I'm thinking of things to add to the checklist, but one of them should be an abort action group. So for my abort action group, it is to decouple this, it's not much, and activate this parachute. That's all the abort, that's my abort action group. This really was very messy. Because of all of these fins. That is definitely... Oh, wait. I see what's going on here. This is on... These fins are on 8-way symmetry. 4-way symmetry. Will that be a little cleaner? Will that be a little cleaner? Okay. Definitely want to simulate just the... Shoot. Cancel. Just don't feel like they're there. Why are they being in a weird... What is going... Oh my gosh. There's something weird going on with the decouplers, or with those... Can we just hold them... I don't know, that seems like a bad idea too. There. Okay. One more simulation, but this isn't going to be a full flight. This is simply going to be, will it come off cleanly? Your vertical speed is pretty high, absolutely. Why wouldn't I want that vertical speed? Oh, you mean while I was gliding at the end? We'll see. I wasn't. I can get it. I have confidence in Jebediah. Okay, this is just, will it launch cleanly? That's good enough. Okay, terminating the simulation. We're doing it. Living on the edge. We're doing it. We're doing it. We're doing it. This is it. We're gonna fly. We're gonna fly. So, yeah, this is it. So, save and launch. RCS Build Aid for construction of planes and light vessels. Oh, I do use RCS Build Aid, but I've never used it for planes. very useful for planes. I don't think I have RCS let anyway. Okay, lights are on for whatever they're worth. All right. I'm getting all kinds of warning that the oxygen and everything is low, but, you know, because it's at 10%, but that's okay. Jeb, you know, either 3 hours from now, less than 3 hours from now, Jeb is either going to be landed or Jeb is going to be dead. In either way, he is not in need of oxygen on this vessel. Okay, let's do it. We are off. We are off, and we're going to go pretty high. Crew report is waiting, so we should be able to do a crew report up nice and high. There we go. I don't know. I'm not completely hating this thing. It's kind of goofy. A much more sensible thing to have built would have been an airplane that takes off the runway with just an SRB on the back. That would have been, I think, more sane. But this is more fun. I think this is more fun. Okay, Apoapsis is just about at 10 kilometers. Again, our goal is 18 kilometers. I want to go a little bit more towards the east. That's better. Oh, we are really going high. So let's level off because I want to maximize the amount of time we spend in the upper atmosphere because it would be nice to be able to get that crew report off. Okay, we have cracked 18 kilometers. That crew report is now being done. Ships are ready to rescue Jebediah. I'm going to hang on to this for a little while. How long does it take to do this crew report? Does it say? It doesn't say there, but it probably does say here. 4.5 minutes to do the crew report. So let's see if I don't think we're going to be up above the atmosphere for 4.5 minutes. Let's just keep that on surface. SAS off. Let's just let aerodynamics take over. We're just going to go ballistic here. Look at that. 43, almost 43 kilometers. Didn't quite make 43 kilometers. Jebediah is ecstatic. Ecstatic. We're not going to be getting much of this crew report. That's for sure. Still got just over 2.5 minutes left on the crew report. I don't think, there's no way. So what we're going to do is slow this down. We're going to lose our booster and try and get this under some control here. You don't want to be going too fast. So crew report, whatever we get, we get. And we're just going to ditch this in the water. Jebediah, you can do this. I'm turning around. I don't think I have any... I do not have any hopes of making it back to the KSC, but I thought at least make it look like we are in some form of control. We can affect our direction. We can affect our flight to some degree. I do have the parachute attached here that I can deploy, but I'm hoping not to. Okay, there. I want to keep the speed about the same now. I don't want my speed to go too low. Here, let's put this, not that it matters, we're over the water. I don't want this speed to come too low because speed's what gives me control. But at the end I want to flare up to slow down and be able to go into the water. So, okay, slow down. Let's get this. I want to be able to pull this up. See, I'm fine there. My vertical speed's actually positive there for a little bit. Let's go back down again. Keep that speed up, up. There we go. Oh yeah, oh yeah. This thing's beautiful. There we go. Not in control. Jebediah has everything under control. There we go. So that contract is complete. We have reached the upper atmosphere. I don't think there was a milestone associated with that. I think all the message that I got here. Well, let's recover. Let's see what happens. Okay, we did bring in, what's that, 1.5 science just from that crew report. It wasn't very much, but whatever. We are at 26.5 science because science still keeps chuckling. Still keeps trickling in is what I'm trying to say. We've completed this, reached the upper atmosphere contract. We are now one step closer to being able to put our first Kerbal into space. Definitely, I don't think that's too far off, but what I really want to do is finish off that moon probes thing. And that's what I'm going to be thinking about, I think, for the next stream, maybe 2 streams, is get to that point where I'm going to put 3 things down there on the surface of the moon. Definitely want to redo that moon recover contract. That got messed up. But that's all going to be for Thursday's stream. And I hope to see you then. But for now, thank you very much for tuning out today. I hope people had fun. See you, everybody.